in the nation, GMAP Broadcast Network. Good afternoon, Dana. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I love your energy. Thank you so much for having me.
Woo, woo, woo. Okay. I am just, I'm having the time of my life, but you know what? You're thanking me for having you, but I'm thanking you for being here.
Well, it's a privilege. I'm always happy to, however I can be an example to people. I mean, you're a reverend, you're a minister, but in a way I try to do the same sort of ministry and just being an example to people of rising above circumstances and giving people their power back, to live to their full potential and be who they truly are, because
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day that's what we're here for. That's what we're meant to be. We're all, given these special gifts and talents, and we may not even realize what they are, and we may not even realize our purpose. But
Right.
the funny thing is that when my book is about my previous marriage, and it was not good, obviously.
Right.
There's enough content for that book, and there was
Yeah.
stuff that wasn't even included. But
Uh-oh, my
you know,
goodness.
yeah, you have no idea. But the thing about it was that, it wasn't until the end of that 25-year relationship that I realized, you know, all those years, my whole childhood, that I'd been, unwanted and neglected and abused, by my mother and stepfather. And then this 25-year relationship with my ex-husband, it took all that time for me to kind of wake up and realize, like, God had actually meant for me to go through all that. As awful
Mm,
as that is, we always pray for this and pray for that, and we think that, all the, it's going to be sunshine and rainbows because God loves us. But sometimes he wants us to endure those storms
yeah.
because it's so much better on the other side. And on the other side, I now get to tell people I've been there, I've done that, I get it. And now I'm kind of reaching back behind me, trying to get everybody else through it too. And it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
It's a wonderful thing, and you said something very important right there. You kind of said we're all in a situation to be able to do exactly what you just said and you did.
Yes.
Very, very important. And the reason I say that is, we all have a gift. We all have a purpose. And you even said, even though we may not know what it is, but the bottom line is certain things in life are contagious. Laughter, smiles, a simple hello, how you doing? Things like that are contagious. Why is it? Huh, this is going to be a really loaded question, Dana. I just want you to know that. I want you to know that. This is going to be a loaded question. Why is it that wrong has become right?
My honest opinion is that I think people have lost their faith. I just think that, I mean, my family is from Puerto Rico. My
Mhm.
grandma's raised me. My mother raised me. I mean, we're Catholic, born and raised, hardcore. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I don't care what you believe in.
Right.
I just think that if you believe in that higher power,
Yeah.
I every religion, I believe, it wants you to live with some sort of peace and purpose, and to serve others with that same kindness and graciousness. And that's what brings us all together in this world. But I think that somewhere, but I'm Generation X, I'm going to be 48 in a couple weeks, but I feel like somewhere between my generation and maybe the millennials, religion has been lost. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. I'm blaming all those ladies. I mean, God love our feminists, but those ladies that burned their bras, that wanted to be mothers and be in the workforce and be equal to men, well, that left a lot of children, like me, with a key to the house and nobody to raise them. Nobody was there to take me to church, or I had to
Yeah.
walk to school.
Yeah.
I'm not like crying about it, but fortunately I had gone to Catholic school, so the faith was there for me at the
Mhm.
school. But I mean, look at our schools now. we can't even say the Pledge of Allegiance. We can't
Right,
do
right.
prayer. We can't do, can't. They're taking everything out of it. Now you can't even say Merry Christmas without somebody saying, oh no, not
Right.
everybody's Christian. You got to say Happy Holidays now. Well, you want to have that argument because holidays, that actually came out of the word holy days. But I'm not going to argue
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it because if
yeah.
they think they're getting something out of it, that's fine. They can, but that's ignorance, and
Yeah.
that's my point, is that I think we have just lost faith, because I can still tell a Christian person from somebody who doesn't believe in anything, because Christian people, for I'm not saying every one of them, but for the most part, they tend to be kinder
Yeah.
than the rest.
Let me say this. And my goodness, this is a moment I can actually rewind the tape and press play over and over and over again based on what you just said. Because, number one, I believe also we've simply lost our purpose.
Hmm.
We have, we've heard the story, and I'm like you. I don't really care what denomination you are, what religion you claim you serve, if that's a fact. I don't really care. It's not my position to judge you based on what you believe in or what you don't believe in. But I, you said it best. It has nothing to do with Christianity, religion, what you believe. We decided that we want to step up and forget about the actual purpose of us being here, and we began to try to create and generate our own purpose, if that makes sense to you.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. It actually makes perfect sense, even in the realm of, my book talks about the narcissistic abuse I suffered. There's domestic violence and all kinds of other stuff. But I mean, even at the root of that, we're talking about people who feel that they are all powerful. I mean, I'm all for self empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to have good self talk for your mental health, and be motivated and driven and all these things. But I feel like we live in a world now where people think that they themselves are, should be exalted, and they
Mm-hmm.
seek power. And when they're seeking power, then we talk about greed. This is where abusers, I mean, that's their whole purpose, is to have power and control and dominate. Everybody's just trying to get, and that
Yeah.
selfishness just,
Yeah.
it's so contradicting to the purpose of anybody who, as we are saying with this, Christian or not Christian, that's the thing. You're right about that. It's just about being a good human being.
Yeah.
How about just remembering that we're all here and we're all just trying to live our lives and do what we're trying to do, and there's room for everybody to be happy, and there's room for everybody to succeed.
Right.
But we live in this society now that people just want everything for themselves. And, that just sucks the life out of the rest of us.
So, well, you know what? That is so very true. And I'm just going to be a firm believer. Let me get back on track here then, and
Yes.
tell you to, because I tell you, this could be a conversation that could go on forever, because I I see exactly what you're saying, and I embrace it. I relate to. As a matter of fact, I agree with it, because we chose to demand this, equality, as they say. I'm equal to a man. I can do what a man does. I can do what a woman does. I mean, it
Hmm.
has become simply out of control. But when doing wrong has become the new good, then there's some serious issues going on. And everybody doesn't see it that way. I mean, we go to church every week. We praise our God, our higher power, but then leaving before we get out of the parking lot, we're doing exactly the opposite of what we. Well, don't get me started because I mean, and it's everybody. It's not just the individuals that are coming. It's even all the way as high up as the pastors. The pastors are doing it. And you can go all the way down to the janitor in the church. We're all doing it. Individuals that even are not a part of any congregation whatsoever, their right is doing wrong. They'll
Hmm.
just, I mean, it's just crazy. But nevertheless, we're going to keep on moving. You are here. Thank you so much. And for those individuals that don't know, now you know. Dana is one of our featured authors on the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com. All you have to do is simply stop by our platform, click on the tab that is titled Featured Authors. Come on, that's a simple process, ladies and gentlemen. It's not hard to do, and I want you to do just that. Don't create something wrong to try to make it right. It is a simple process. You'll see her publication posted there. And you always say you're not the type of individual that don't like seeing yourself. And I'm gonna I'm gonna disagree with you, Dana. I'm gonna disagree with you, and I'm gonna show the world right now that there's a purpose for you. You're a beautiful young lady, and I'm sure people can kind of line you up with different individuals, actresses, models, and things like that. But hey, don't you ever become afraid of who you are. And I was told today, sometimes you have to listen to you in order to hear what you're saying to everybody else. Wow. Because we spend so
Yeah.
much time being a critic to ourselves that we don't have time to listen what we are presenting or seeing what we are presenting. You got to see. Sometimes you got to take time out to see what you are presenting to everybody else. You need to do that too. You're a gorgeous young lady. Why not go ahead and allow yourself to be seen that way? And of course, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to come and I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to tell us really, who are you? Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're from. And as a matter of fact, just be point blank. Who is Dana S. Diaz? All right, go ahead. It's all you.
No, absolutely. I'm just a regular person like everybody else. I am a wife. I am a mother to. I love my 20-year-old son, but I think we all love our children. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
I have two cats too, which sounds silly, but they keep me going. They keep me company every day because I am a full-time writer. I have published Gasping for Air, but I have two other books that I have written that I'm in the process of revising and doing the editing on. So I get to just hang out every day with my two cats, and we eat a lot and we write a lot and we talk to people like you a lot.
Oh my goodness.
But it's a wonderful thing because what I'm trying to do, and I hope that people will understand this, and this is my main point. It's not about the book, it's not about putting myself out there. It's about just hoping that people will be more conscientious about sort of how you were saying, how they present in the world. Because,
Yeah.
why don't I like looking at myself? Because from the time I was a young child, I was taught to be ashamed. I was told I was fat, even though I was 100 pounds. I couldn't be skinny enough. I was never good enough. I never got good
Mm,
enough, nothing, so, I carry and have internalized that, but I'm here to help others not to be that way. And I want to show other people like it's okay to be you, and we're not
yeah.
perfect. Nobody is, not
Yeah.
our pastors, not anybody anywhere. But the beauty of it is that we are in control about who we are in this
Yeah.
world. And I want to be one of those people who, even if I can't always follow my own advice, I
Mm-hmm.
want other people to try to walk the straight and narrow, be kind, like you said, be kind to how you talk to yourself, be kind to how you talk to others, because if you start in your home, speaking positivity and encouragement and uplifting to the your spouse, to your kids, to grandma, to whoever, then that goes out to the schools and the churches and the community, where they are present. And, imagine the beautiful domino effect. I'd like to solve world peace with that, but,
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know if we'll ever get there. But,
Ah,
the thing is that we can only start with ourselves. It's one little bit in this world, but we all have to do our part. We are
right.
so significant. And it goes back to that purpose. Even if we don't know what it is, it costs nothing and it takes no effort to offer somebody a smile. That if somebody looks like they're just having the worst day ever, you give them a hug. One of the most poignant
Right,
moments
right.
for me when I was in the midst of my abusive marriage and had nobody to turn to and nobody to talk to, I was in church on my knees praying, and the woman, an elderly lady that sat in the pew behind me as she was passing me by after communion, just she rested her hand on my shoulder
Yeah,
and just squeezed it. It was her way of saying, I see you. I
yeah,
see it,
yeah, yeah.
but you're not alone. And it took nothing. She didn't even
Right,
have to say words, but I
right.
felt that, and it has stayed with me, and it strengthened me to leave there, to go and endure what I had to until I didn't have to anymore. So,
Right.
just wanting, like you, that's why I say this is sort of a ministry in a way,
Yeah,
just hoping to be an example and to influence others to understand that the littlest things you say, the littlest things you do can have the most meaningful impact to
that's right.
somebody somewhere, and you
That's right.
never know when that is.
Right. And a lot of times people also they don't realize that having that impact only takes one. It
Yeah.
only takes one. We're so concerned about having this, I guess you can say, this popularity effect
Hmm.
that we forget our divine purpose. And that's why I'm so grateful I sit here alone a lot. But I deal with so many people, and it only takes one to encourage you to reach another and another. And that snowball effect does.
Yeah.
It happens. And I got to ask you this. Is this actually your first publication, or is this a follow up to something that you've written before?
No, I mean, I wrote an article for a website probably 20 years
Oh
ago, and
my
it was
goodness.
about Alzheimer's. Yeah, it was about Alzheimer's, so it had nothing to do with this.
Wow.
But I went to DePaul University in Chicago. I am an Illinois girl. I'm not going to lie. I'd rather be somewhere tropical and live my life on a beach with palm trees. But I'm here and always probably will be, born at the Salvation Army Hospital in Chicago back in 1975. And I have stayed, somewhere within the vicinity. I'm a little further out. I'm about 90 miles southwest now, but I did go to I went to school in Chicago, went to DePaul, got my degree in journalism and psychology, and that's why I say it's kind of interesting how God works,
Yeah.
because I got these degrees and then I ended up marrying this man who wanted me. I mean, he actually told me our house was our prison, moved me 90 miles away from everything and
Mm,
everybody I knew, isolated me, had me working with his friend's wife cleaning houses, even though I was capable of doing and being so much more. And I wanted to travel the world, and I wanted,
right.
there were things I had dreams to do, like
Right.
everybody, but I wasn't allowed joy. I wasn't allowed achievement. I wasn't allowed a lot with him. So it's just kind of funny that once I came to the realization that, you know, there was more for me to do,
Yeah.
and I had to, end that situation. But the second I ended it, I've always heard about people like, having something put on their heart or God spoke to them, and I never understood it because I don't think it's something you can understand unless it happens. But
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
just jogging one morning, running my 5 miles, and it just came to me that the journal that I had been keeping, because, it's unfortunate, he actually did in many ways. He verbally and in writing said he wanted to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had been keeping a journal under the couch cushion of the things that he was saying and doing, because I honestly thought he might do something, it would look like an accident, and
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that somebody would find something at some point that would incriminate him. But so I'm running along this, and we're divorced and everything's done, and it's just like I just had this thing in my head that just said, you need to write a book. You need to take that journal and elaborate those stories and write a book about it. And I thought about writing a book. I had a degree in journalism. Of course, I wanted
Right.
to
Right.
write, but I never thought about writing about that. And so I just started writing. I didn't have a plan necessarily. I just started writing. And once I had an actual manuscript, then I started interviewing with publishers. And once we did that, then it well, now we have a published book, and now I have two more coming. So who to thunk it? But it even took one of my priests telling me, as I was sadly relaying all these things to him one day and wondering why I had to endure 45 years of, these terrible circumstances with people. And he said, because God wanted you to understand, because if you understood it with your gifts of speaking and your gifts of writing, you could then take it and you could use it to help others. Maybe you weren't meant to be a therapist. Maybe you were not meant to be a lawyer like I had originally thought about law school, to help get kids out of abusive circumstance. That didn't pan out. I was good at writing and speaking. So I think it's just funny how everything kind of came full circle, and it just goes to prove too that it's never too late. And I'm just glad that I realize now, and I what it was all meant for, and I'm glad for it. And I've had many people interview me and say, well, if you could go back to your younger self, what would you say, thinking that I'm going to go back to when I was 19 years old and say, don't go on a date with him, don't go
Yeah.
to his
Yeah. Yeah.
apartment. But I wouldn't. And I have said that because if I went back and changed one thing, then you're taking out that life experience. Maybe I
Right.
wouldn't
Right.
be as humble. I probably would not have been so faithful, to be honest, because church was the one place I could go where I was safe,
Right.
and I wouldn't have had that. There's so many things. I wouldn't have met my current husband, who I've known for many years. And, it's just so many things. I wouldn't change any of it
Right.
because this is the life I was meant to live. And I think that as faithful people, we need to understand that as much as we pray for this to happen or that to happen, I think we need to remember at the end of the day is that we need to pray that we can endure what we need to so that God's will is
Exactly.
fulfilled.
That's right.
Because in fulfilling his will, we are fulfilling his purpose for
Yeah.
us.
I'm going to laugh a little bit because I'm going to
Okay.
take you back to that article that you written way back when,
Oh my
and
goodness.
you know,
You're good at dragging stuff up, aren't you?
and of course, a Chicago native, and this is home for me as well. Regardless to what I do, and I'm like you, I want to go into one of those southern states that never get dark. I want to go into those southern states that never get cold. 50 degrees is like
Yes.
below zero to them, and I'm
Yes.
like, wow,
And I'll take it.
I'll take it. They get a brush of snow. I mean, a brush to where you can literally go blow it with your mouth, and it'll go. They'll shut down the whole city. We
Yes,
laugh
they
at that.
will.
Yeah, we laugh at that. So, with that being said, of course, I appreciate you once again. Number one, being here with me today because it's like a breath of fresh air, and of course, you have accepted the invitation to be a part of our broadcast network family. God bless you for that as well. It's so important, and I told you in the beginning, you know, um, you have something that has a purpose. It's not just an entertainment
Right.
situation. It's a purpose. I love purpose. This is not just entertainment to me. It's a purpose behind this, and see, we can creep through the cracks and crevices of someone who doesn't even realize our purpose. Like you said in the beginning, even when we don't know it, we have it. Even
Hmm.
when we don't believe it, we should, because everyone has a purpose. Your story on this platform could encourage someone in another country. People just don't understand there's a purpose behind what we do. And I had a pastor tell me just yesterday or day before yesterday. He said people don't realize it, Kevin. He said, but what you're doing is opening the doors for many who don't realize that the door is even there. And it took me a minute to grasp that. You're doing the same thing. People need to understand. See, don't just overlook what you have. If you take a few minutes to grasp, that's not, you know what? I didn't, do that intentionally. That's not a shameless plug on grasp, okay? I just want you to know that. I just want you to know that, grasping for air. But, if they just grasp what you have and take a few minutes, even if they read the inserts, or even if they go to Amazon and read what you have written, or even if they're listening to what you have to say, someone out there is either going through, just coming out of, or getting ready to experience exactly what you did somewhere in this world. And if that one individual could grasp what you have disseminated for people around the world, that's going to begin your snowball effect, because they grasp it from you and they're going to share it with somebody else. And it just should go on and on. If they wanted to show their love, care, concern, and support, what do they need to do? Where can it be found? Where can it be purchased or downloaded? Can you share with us the process for them to get a copy of your current publication?
Yes, absolutely. I always tell people go to my website, danasdiaz.com, or you can just go straight to Amazon. But if you go on the website, there's a link that'll take you to Amazon. And I am offering, for those of you who are in this awful winter state or in the Midwest or Northern Hemisphere, if the weather gets a little sketchy, do go on the featured authors page for this gentleman's website, because I looked through the books and there's a few already that I'm very excited. I'll probably
Amen.
have to get to read
Amen.
when I have a few minutes. But the beautiful thing about books, if you go on Amazon and click on ebook, instead of waiting or hoping that the mail will deliver something, you can just send an ebook to somebody with just their email address.
Right.
Merry Christmas. It's a lot cheaper, saves printing costs, saves a few trees if you're a tree hugger. So, it's a very easy and affordable way to give gifts, is to just go on the website, featured authors, click on a few books that you might think somebody might like, and do your Christmas shopping there and get one for yourself while you're there. But yeah, my website, you can get gasping for air. There's also a quiz to take if you're interested in knowing if you're in an abusive situation. And this show, as well as other podcast interviews I've done, are also on my page. So sometimes it's easier for people to listen than to actually sit down and read something. But
Yeah.
like you said, however we can get the message out, it's all about just, being a good human being, being a good person, and trying to spread that wherever you go.
Well, ebooks are going to be the new norm. You do realize that, don't you?
Absolutely.
It's going to be the new
Yes. And they're
norm,
so much cheaper. Yeah.
and I mean,
Printing costs have gotten up.
it's ridiculous, because everything has gone up. And somebody
Yeah.
asked me one day, why is it that you ride that bike? And I said, let me break this down for you. Number one, my bike is electric. I created an electric bike.
Oh,
Number two, if we go from here to our destination on such and such street, I'll get there quicker than you. Number three, I don't need a license. I don't need insurance if I don't want it. And it's safer because there's not a whole lot of people that could get out of the way. I can ride on the sidewalk. I can ride on a bike path. I can get there quicker. I don't need a license. And all I have to do is go every day, all day. So that's why. And oh, by the way, I don't need gas money. You know, everything that
or
I,
insurance.
or
Yeah.
right, everything that I mentioned is ridiculously high. Gas, insurance, like I mean, in order for me to go get an ID these days, I had to pay $30. Well, I used to pay $5 for an ID. My goodness. But I'm just saying, and I said that's why. I said everything is when COVID hit us, Dana, it was an eye opener, but it was not a mistake. COVID was not a mistake because people don't understand. We had to realize that higher power we believe in was mandatory at that point. It wasn't a choice. We had to depend on someone that we could not even see. COVID really done a lot for me. When everybody else was upset and wearing masks and, oh, I hate this thing, I was loving every minute of it because I got numerous phone calls. How can I do what you do? How can I reach people without leaving my home? Ebook. That's going to be the new norm because no one is going to have to deliver. We're not going to have to depend on shipping, printing. I'm, I'm telling you,
Weather.
weather, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so every situation that we deal with, there's a new norm coming along. Travel. You might see 5 electric bikes today. In 10 years, you won't be able to move without passing them up because people are going to realize the importance of having one. I do. And somebody always told me, I'm going to tell you the same thing. You are a pioneer in this industry because you're sharing something so personal to the world. Remember that. I'm sharing my lifelong passion to the world, and so are you. Because you don't look like what you've been through. I'm just going to share that with you. And I said it at the beginning, I'm going to say it again. You are a gorgeous young lady, and you should be proud of that. Don't let anyone take that away from you because of what you've been through. Share it with the world. They deserve to see that life goes on in the best way possible. You take that gift away from showing it to the world, then it seems as you're ashamed of what you've been through to get where you are. I won't accept it. It's unacceptable to me. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you and talk to you on a more individual basis, maybe chat with you a little bit, find out what direction they could go overcome, give them the process for them to do so.
Yeah, again, you can either go on my website and click the links to Facebook and Instagram, and you can message me directly, follow me, like, subscribe, whatever. But that's the best way. And I do love hearing from people. I love feedback from interviews. I love feedback from the book. I've had so many people say that they're planning an escape or that they have had the courage after hearing something I had to say or reading whatever I've written. to get out of abusive situations. And, we all just need to lift each other up. So
Yeah.
anytime you need anything, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but I am always here to send you some smiley emojis
Ah,
and just send you some love from afar, because we all need it. And I think that's the most important thing. And even if you're not in an abusive situation, and just want to say hi, please do. I think human connection is so vital, and that's another thing that has changed in this world of technology, but we still want that connection. And
yeah.
so please do Instagram, Facebook, Dana S. Diaz author. That's where you'll find me, and I'll hope to hear from everybody.
And it's amazing because technology is the new norm, and I feel like I'm right there with you. I mean, I can reach out. It's like I can reach out and touch you. So it's
Yeah.
amazing. So I mean, all of this is all of this. This technology that we experience. Hey, Dan, I remember someone talking about me really bad, and when all of this began for me, I mean, when all of this began for me, Facebook wasn't even out yet. So imagine, I didn't. Facebook was unheard of when I began
Yeah.
this, and I had somebody walk up to me and say, "Well, Kevin, I know now this. They're being sarcastic, really. I know that you are licensed and an ordained pastor now, you know, but at the same time, he's smiling in my face, but he's
Mm.
laughing at me in the back of his mind. But let me add, and he did this publicly,
Mm.
not just between him and I. He said, but, Pastor Kevin, where is your church, by the way? And who exactly are you preaching to? That was his question to me, publicly. And I calmly looked at him and I said, the last I checked, the church was in the people. It's not in that $7.3 million extension you are trying to put on your brick and mortar facility. So think about that. And then time goes by. I said, God explains to us in the Bible, for you biblical maniacs or whatever, that we're supposed to reach out to people in every corner of the world. That's what I was told.
Mhm.
And then I said, okay, well, how are you going to do that over on the corner of Grand and Jackson? How are you going to do that over on Genesee Street in Waukegan? Or Chicago Avenue? How are you going to reach people in every corner of the world? Oh, I know. You're going to hope that they come from other countries to your church. Yeah, right. You know, so another time goes by, and all of a sudden that same gentleman, Dana, is asking me how he could do what I'm doing. Go figure. Amazing.
I love it.
I love it. I don't know why I felt the need to tell you that, but it's so important that you understand you are a pioneer in your industry, whether you believe it or not, because you're sharing something through your own personal lifelong journey, your experience. This is not something that you put together yesterday because you thought it needed to be written because something you went through last week or last
Yeah.
month or last year. It's a lifelong journey. It's an experience. So,
Exactly. I think the point of that, though, and I appreciate that. That's a beautiful compliment. And I do believe that we are all empowered with that same sense of ministry, though, just like the elderly lady that squeezed my shoulder. Is she
yeah,
a certified trauma specialist?
yeah,
No, but she helped me more than
yes.
probably a certified trauma specialist would have.
Hmm.
So, We all have it in us, whatever the gift is.
Yeah.
I think people think that they're supposed to be somebody other than who they are, but God made
Yeah.
you exactly how you are, with
Exactly.
exactly your talents and gifts, because that's who you were meant to be, and that's what you were meant to share with the world. Every single one of us has that. And
Woo.
it doesn't have to be big. It can be that little squeeze of the shoulder
Yeah.
to let somebody know you see them. It could be just smiling at the person in front of you at the store and saying,
Right.
"Boy, I like your energy. You have the most beautiful smile." Because you don't know if that person's going home to kill themselves that day, and you might
Right.
just be the game changer.
Yep.
You were the person that God sent there to save them. You don't know.
And people go to church because deep down inside, if they don't, they want to believe that there's something there that could help them, save them, guide them. So, in some sense, there is some sort of belief. And let me say this, if there's some sort of belief, once you decided that you believe something, then you automatically become a minister of the gospel. You automatically have a ministry because as a believer, it's your responsibility to share your belief with others. No matter what you do, write, sing, dance, preach, teach, authorship. I don't even know if that's a word, but it sounds good. You
Yeah,
know?
I don't know. It does sound good though.
So
We're
I
just
tell
gonna
you,
make up words, you and me.
hey, and hey, but don't be surprised if that word ends up in the Webster dictionary next month. I tell you,
It
authorship.
might end
Listen,
up in my next book.
I know, right? So, before I let you go, that was going to be my question to you. After your journey, Dana, after you've been through all that you've been through, and you know where you began with this, and you know what you've been through and where you are. Before I let you go, I want you to look at the camera. I want you to speak to the people around the world and tell us all what's next for you.
Well, what's next is getting these next two books published, but more importantly, it is exactly what we've been talking about, which is just reaching people. And I have had a priest and another pastor reach out to me that do actually want me to look into starting, the journey into becoming a certified trauma healing specialist. I have already spoken in a summit for healing from trauma. So I think that's something that I might consider, but whatever it is, I just want to affect people positively. I want to help them. Like I said, I've gotten through this, and I want to just reach back for anybody else who's struggling and kind of pull them up here with me, because I think we were all meant to live to our full potential and live a very happy and fulfilled life. And not everybody can see that, but I want to help them to get there.
Let me tell you this, and I want you to remember this, okay? Seriously.
Okay.
You don't need to add the word certified to your name in order to be who you are. You already are. Right now. You already are. Come on, give me that title again that you said. Certified healing
A
trauma
certified trauma healing specialist, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
additional things because I'm humble enough to say I don't know everything.
Right.
So I would like to learn how I can help people more.
Let
And
me
so
ask you
that's
this
really
though.
what's in it for me.
Let me ask you this. After you go to school and become certified, will you know everything?
No, but it,
Exactly.
it will allow me it will allow me to develop groups within
Yeah.
churches
Well,
so that
that's
I can reach the people that I want to reach,
and
so that
that's
I can hold their hands, let them cry on my shoulder, and be in front of them. But I'm going to do that anyway, don't you
yeah.
worry,
See,
because
right,
I do.
right. I mean, that's a part.
Every day when I'm out in the world, it's like I'm telling everyone else, we all play our part, and it's very simple, just to be a kind human being and to connect with others on
Right,
that level. So,
right.
but that's just something I'm considering, but I may just keep writing books. Who knows?
Well, you can't. Let me tell you a secret. You can't avoid it. You already are.
Probably not. I know.
And it's just a
I know.
matter of going through certain processes. And, for me to become a professional broadcaster, I can go to, I graduated from, well, you might be familiar, Columbia School of Broadcasting in Chicago.
Yes. Yes.
I went there. I went there for many years and graduated, got my FCC license to become a professional, I guess you call it a professional radio personality. But you know what? I already was. I had been getting paid to make appearances on radio stations and in local places for years. But I just didn't know, like you, all the intimate details there was to know. I didn't know that it was a major thing in the broadcast world to say get instead of get. I didn't know that. Because you don't tell people you're going to go home and watch the TV set. You tell them you're going to watch the TV set. Get and get is like me. But the way people talk, even if it's wrong, it has become acceptable. So, I do understand that it's necessary for you to go to school and become what's that title again? Certified.
Oh, a certified trauma specialist. I'm just thinking about it. I've just been approached about it. So we'll see.
You are
I'm not trying to go to school. I'm going to be 48. I'm not trying to go back to school. Trust me.
I know that's right. Because
now I'm just trying to live for today and do my thing and reach people and love the people that I come across. And that's all I can do because nobody's guaranteed tomorrow.
Today.
Well, we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
You know what? We've had a nice long conversation. That is the best comment you have made today. Because you know what? Because people don't understand. I was lying in my bed and I was like, my good, you begin to worry about things that are beyond your control.
Yeah.
When you think about tomorrow. Oh, how am I going to get my bill paid? How am I going to make it to work? You begin to worry, which produces stress, which is really unnecessary when you may not even wake up in the morning. Or anything could happen. I don't want to cause pain or death, trauma, anything of that nature, but anything could happen.
It could be good stuff, too. Good stuff happens sometimes, too. There are nice surprises, but you just never know.
You never know what's going to take place.
We just do today and worry about tomorrow.
Woohoo!
Right?
Love this. And I tell you, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. I want you to know that I am so excited about having you. And thank you so much for being just a featured author, accepting the invitation to be a part of our broadcast network family. And I know you have the number. I know we've been communicating. And I want you to know two things. If there's anything that we can do, any shape, form, or fashion, anything that we can do to assist you on your journey as you continue to move toward being a certified trauma specialist, okay?
Maybe. He's laughing.
I just want you to let us know what we can do to assist you in any way. We'd love to, and we will do so in any way, shape, form, or fashion. If you, in fact, give us that phone call and we can help you out and assist you in any way, I want you to know two things behind that. The answer is always going to be yes, and you'll never have to ask me twice. I want you to know that. I appreciate you. I'm wishing you the best. I'm wishing you well. And I want you to continue to be blessed, but I also want you to continue to be a blessing to others, okay?
Thank you so much. And the same goes to you. I love what you're doing, and I love that you invited me to be a part of this. So thank you so much. And I'm going to say Merry Christmas to everybody in a couple of weeks because Christ is the reason we are celebrating that day. And I'm not going to say Happy Holidays, although it is a holy day.
Well, you know what? That's a people thing. People have decided that they want to incorporate.
That is a people thing.
Yeah, that's their own rule. But Merry Christmas to you. And 20 years ago, that wasn't a problem. 30 years ago, it wasn't a problem to say, "Hey, Merry Christmas," and you would yell it across the room, "Merry Christmas!" Now People want to get all particular and specific about, it's politics. And I'm going to
Oh
blame
yeah.
all the changes that are attempting to take place in the lives of others. It's a political thing. That's why, people say about president this. I have nothing against a person that wins the presidency. Nothing. I mean, if you're the president and you get the votes, but why do you have to break the rules? Why do you have to do it illegally? Why do you and it's political. I mean,
Yeah, it's
it's
also that word that it's that word narcissist that
yeah,
I wrote about, there
yeah,
it goes back to the greed and power
yeah,
and that they fulfill their ego that way, but we're not like that and we
right,
don't have to be. We can stand firm in who we are
right.
because we know what's what and everybody can believe what they want, but we're going to
Hmm.
choose to believe in the Lord and
That's right.
that's how it is. So
And it
that's how
is
we're
what it
all
is.
going to live our lives.
It is what it
Yep.
is. Case closed. We got our own government over here. Hey, Denny, you take care. You
Right?
have, take care. Take it easy. And if it's good to take it out, you have a nice day, a fantabulous rest of your day. I'll be letting you know where it
Thank
goes
you.
from here as far as this is concerned. But thank you so much for being such a wonderful guest, and I shall be speaking with you real soon. Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you all so much.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Take care.
I think I think when it's all over, it just comes back in flashes, you know? It's like a kaleidoscope of memories. It just all comes back. But he never does.